long-winded, so you might as well sit back or get yourself a drink ahead of time because you never know how long you'll live. This is to welcome you to the celebration of Sally life. And I'm so thankful to have the number of you that have come today. She would be blown away. She'd be humbled by this group that comes to remember her. I'm going to tell a little story. We left, didn't leave Toledo, but we became Florida residents about 19 years ago. Mickey and Steve Swigert are very good friends. We're already down in the community of Bonita Bay, and Steve was so insistent, he said, Tommy, just how many good years do you think you've got left? And this is a guy who loves me. I mean, my enemies, I don't know what they would have said. But anyway, we did it. And as we got down into the community, and Sal, of course, she becomes involved in golf and whatnot, we found a church. And that church has become an important part of her life and my life. It's the First Presbyterian Church right in Bonita Springs. And it's a magnificent place. Did I lose this? Anyway, that's where Sally is residing now. And I will be, when my time comes. It's a beautiful garden and has these niches that you can be placed in, and that's where Sally is. As I said, it became an important part of our life. And when Sal became ill and really seriously ill, where she couldn't get about, we had sort of an open door policy in the place that we lived, and the doors were never locked, and anybody could come in at any time that they wanted to. And that was a great decision. It meant a lot to the people that came, and it meant a lot to Sally. I'm sure that it extended her life, knowing that people would come to see her. One of the things that happened along the way was a phone call from one of the ministers at the church. This is a place that can have 1,200 seats for a service. It's a big place. They've got a number of ministers. And one of them was Jew and Barrow, who called and said, would you mind if I would come over and sit with you for a minute? And I said, well, absolutely, come on in. So she did, and it was wonderful, and she said some kind words and prayed with us, and as she left a piece of paper. And I have that piece of paper with me here now, and as I look at it, I'm going to read this. I think Sal would be happy if I did. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow Sally all the days of my life, and she will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. The reason I read that is that after that was left and I saw it every morning, that's how she and I would start our day. And as the door would open and people would come in, and they'd see this sitting beside her bed, I promised her that she would stay in our home for the rest of her days. And she did. People would come by, even when she couldn't communicate, and they might see this, and some would just pick it up, and that's what they would do. It was a wonderful thing. The service that we had for Sally was the only service, church service that we had, was there, and it was fantastic. Afterwards, we had a gathering similar to this at our club, the Bonita Bay Club, and it was surprising to me the number of people. I expected, just as this gathering here today, someone would come to me and you'd expect that they would say, "Oh, that was a beautiful service." It was far beyond that. I can't tell you the number of people that said to me, "That was a beautiful service. As a matter of fact, it was the most wonderful service I've heard in my life." I just didn't expect it. Part of it was because of the people that were there speaking. One of them is here today. He's an Empress member, a great friend of all of ours, Jimmy Leonardson. Others were members of the Bonita Bay community who you wouldn't know. I can tell you it impacted everybody who was there, and I'm very thankful for that. So, following that, we began to think about, or actually we did it prior to that time because Sal and I were in concert with one another. Well, we also have a home in Ohio. And although there is a high number of people from our community, some that are here today, that are in both communities, obviously there are a great number of people, family and whatnot, that couldn't get there. So what are we going to do about them? And we talked, and we decided that, well, Sally's Golf, which is all of you who know her, that became an important part of her life. And Inverness was the place that really enhanced all of that. So that was a good reason to be here. A more important reason was just behind this screen is a fireplace. Sally and I were married in this room. "31 years and 9 days ago, June the 5th, 1993. We belonged at that time to First Congregational Church, and there was Bob Wellner was the minister there. He became a great friend of ours. And he was a beautiful man, and it's a gorgeous church. Different in size from First Presbyterian, but beautiful. Bob went on to marry Jacqueline and Jay and Jenny and Billy. He then baptized Preston and Sam in our house in the village here. So why wouldn't we do anything other than have this gathering here at the Inverness Club? It's a great place, a lot of memories. Sally also would find me to be out of favor if I didn't go further in the thanking of people. I can tell you that the care over the past years that we received from, first of all, 3 physicians that are members here of the Inverness Club, I will never be able to repay them. First, Dr. Judas, who was Sally's gynecologist, and she went to see him. He first indicated that there was an issue. On his own, went to Dr. Phibbs, Garth, our other great friend, a gynecological oncologist, did the operation on her, and he extended himself. Well, he operated on her on Christmas Eve when he was leaving the next day to go see his family in Florida. Later on, in really sort of a secondary way, but done in a fashion that I will forever be indebted to Dr. Sedin. Sally, no matter what the situation, and many, many, many doctor visits where we'd have the physician come in, stand before us, and deliver just not good news. Her final comment always was, "Can I play golf?" And that these were the people that enabled her to continue to do that. We had 2 more physicians down in Florida, Dr. Rubin and the Florida Cancer Specialists, which are phenomenal. Dr. Nakfor, who was her radiological oncologist. I cannot say enough about these people, and I'm going to tell you, everybody standing in this room, to the extent that you know these physicians, they care, they will go the extra mile for you, and it happened for us. After that, some other things took place. One is, in the process of going through this business that I had no knowledge of, nor did she, the terminology and just the entire circumstances were overwhelming. I had 3 other physicians, Garth dealing with Dr. Rubin because Garth retired with his accident and couldn't practice any longer, but his brain was still perfect. And so I utilized them. Another Dr. Safredo over in Elkhart, who's a member at Benita, another guy from Wisconsin, Dr. Helgerson. And most of all, right below where we live, 15 feet away, our other Inverness member, Dr. Hoppel, and his wife, Pat. Daily, they were there. They helped me try to understand. They were always helpful with Sal, and I can't thank them enough. And then there's another component, the open door policy, and people would just come in. One of the first people there, and I had no idea of the vocation of this particular individual, but she's here today, Penny Leonardson. She was a nurse. I never knew it. She was right there anytime you needed her. A couple of others, ladies that you wouldn't know, Tina Child, who was a hospice nurse when she's not down in Benita, Gwen Bergsman, another great gal that played all kinds of golf with her, comes from a medical family, and she was a nurse. Absolutely fantastic, and very, very thankful to each of those. She and I would be terribly thankful to all of the prayer groups or individuals that would tell me every night or every morning, whenever it is, Sal was always in their thoughts. The church the same way. The letter writers, the cards, the people that extended themselves to come when they didn't know whether it was a good or a bad thing to come and see Sal. They did. So I can't thank them enough. I can't thank you enough for being here. And this is the last downer that you're going to get today, okay? The whole point of this is a celebration. I had to tell you the things that I had to say, but we're going to get a cocktail, have something to eat, sit about, and we're going to come back. I'm going to come back at the microphone again, and what I want is for each of you to think about anything that you can think of that would be a moment of Sally that we can share with one another. And I have my own little thing that we're going to do, which is really pretty terrific, I think. Anyway, it's a great memory. So enjoy. Thank you all for coming.